Hello, my name is Rachel Wagner. I am now the Assistant Registrar. I used to be the Administrator of Graduate Programs for the School of Business. I still teach economics and statistics for the School of Business, so perhaps you will have my class sometime soon. I am going to talk to you a little bit about expectations for success. I completed the MBA program in 2010, so I have a little bit of experience in that area. I've also had to help numerous students make it through, so here are some tips. This is kind of just a summary. We're going to go through each one of these. Some of the new challenges that most student affects is that it's a different learning style. It's not the same as whenever you were an undergraduate and you kind of took what felt like random classes to check off some boxes and probably your liberal arts core, and then you kind of check that box off and didn't think about it too much anymore. The MBA program is a bit different. You also have an increased time commitment for your master's courses than you did whenever you were in undergraduate school. You're juggling responsibilities now. Back whenever you went to undergrad, you probably didn't have, a full-time job and a house and responsibilities and a family, and so most of you are having to deal with that now. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about improving your study habits. So let's talk a little bit about the different learning styles. It's very important that you kind of have an understanding of the material instead of just a memorization. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, whenever you took art history or whenever you took Western Civ, it was kind of like you wanted to get that check in the box and move on. So whenever you kind of just memorized important dates and figures to try to get that done. In the MBA program, a lot of the courses kind of build on one another, which is why they're deemed as prerequisites. So if you're taking Accounting 1 and then you're going to take Accounting 2 the next semester, it's kind of important that you have an understanding of Accounting 1. It's not one of those things that you can just say, okay, got the check in the box, moving on. So one of the positives about this is that if you have a better understanding of what you're doing, you can apply it a little bit better. If you just memorize something, sometimes you get into a panic mode where you're like, oh gosh, I think it was this date and this person, but I don't really remember all the specifics. If you have a pretty good understanding of it, you are able to apply it better. And so a lot of times I will hear firsthand from students that they learned something in class and they actually learned it and they understood it and they went right into the workforce the next day and were able to apply it because they had this understanding. Also, when you take your capstone course, which is 650, it combines 4 really important classes. It talks a little bit about management style, it talks about their marketing efforts, it talks about their financials, and so it combines finance, accounting, management, and marketing, which is why those are prerequisites for that course. So if you just kind of got through them and to get the check in the box, you're probably going to struggle later on. So it's really important that you understand early that you need an understanding of this material instead of just memorization. Okay, so an increased time commitment. This is different for everyone, but limit yourself to a single course if you're working full-time and your responsibilities are great. For instance, I would have a guy tell me before that, I work 60 hours a week, I have 2 children, I run the carpool for their soccer games, and, he wanted to take 2 classes. And I said, listen, you're better at understanding your time than I am, but that seems like a bit ambitious. And so he later thanked me, and said, yeah, that was probably more than what I was thinking. I always recommended if you kind of felt like you were busier during one season than the other at work, that you kind of let your advisor know about this early, because we don't know what other factors that you have. We can only tell you about pairing of courses, like whether or not this is a good balance, take this course with that course. But even if something is a good balance, it may not work for you if you have, tons of other stuff going on. If you're an accountant or you're in the accounting field, the spring is a really busy time for most people in that field. So that's not a good idea to take your most important classes or your heavy hitters. So this is something you need to talk with your advisor, Janie Cogdill, about. And also Dr. Gertis can give some information about that as well, on how to try to balance your time. As a father of 5, I'm sure he has lots that he has to juggle as well. So there's more than just the end time class that's required. Of course, this has been true ever since you were in college. So, plan to study and prepare outside of class. Make sure I always suggested for people to get a planner at the beginning of the academic year and kind of write down when everything was due, because then nothing really caught you by surprise. And if you had a week where you had a lot due, you could kind of prepare for that. You could, plan ahead and get some things knocked off of your plate to allow time for that. That way you didn't feel like you were constantly behind the 8 ball. Out of all the problems in the MBA program, this is the biggest one I see. And it's not because people didn't finish the MBA program because they didn't have the horsepower, they didn't have the capability. It's that they really just underestimated the amount of time it was going to take for them to be able to get through the program and to take the courses. So, warning. Okay, juggling responsibilities. I have here to set SMART goals, and I have them listed as specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and within a reasonable time frame. Now, the reason why I have it set up this way is because whenever you are trying to balance everything, you're one of those people who, has it all. You're trying to balance a family life, a work life, and a school life. It can be hard. It can be intimidating. And so whenever you're setting goals, please don't be the kind of person who says, I work better under pressure, and think that you can write a 20-page paper, 2 days before it's due. I've read lots of papers that have been written 2 days before they were due, and I can promise you as an instructor, you're really not fooling us. We can tell that you put this together in 2 days. So make sure that whenever you are looking at what is achievable for you, you give yourself some realistic time to get some stuff done. So make sure whenever you're listing your goals, make sure they're SMART. And that means that they're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're realistic, and they're within the time frame that you have to get stuff done. Study habits. I put this picture on here. I felt like this a lot during my academic career. So I hope it's a little comical, but I hope it's a little reassuring. Make sure that you have a quiet place. My office is not a quiet place. People come and go in my office all day long. So it's not really the place where I feel that it's my, place where I can be alone with my thoughts and get some stuff done. It's really, a different place. So we have libraries on campus that have areas that you can rent for your quiet place, and some people just go there and they read a book and they listen to music and they're dead quiet. Other people prefer to go to a bookstore, a coffee shop. But make sure you have a place that you can feel productive, you can feel proactive, and you can also feel like it's like your little bit of safe haven. You don't have people bugging you all the time. So build an academic calendar. We talked about this a few minutes ago. Mark deadlines, record big group meetings, track backwards to set your goal. Because if you know that you have a big paper coming up, make sure you're saying, okay, I need to get this many articles done by this time. I need to have this many read. I need to be 3 pages into my paper. Begin your big projects early. Okay, and that's it for me. If you have any questions, if you wanted to, say like, hey, I've looked at your PowerPoint slides and they were awesome and they really helped me out, you can feel free to send me an email. Or if you have specific questions like, hey, I know you've been through the program before, and what did you think about this? What did you think about that? How did you work around this? I'm happy to give any kind of answers that I can. My email address is rwagner@csuniv.edu, and I hope to see some of you in my classes, Economics and Statistics. Hoorah! Bye.